My pivotal circumstance was when I was diagnosed with breast cancer 2.5 years ago.
My pivotal circumstance was when I lost my job.
This is my pivotal circumstance.
My pivotal circumstance happened this year when my life took me to a place I never thought it would be.
I had been going through a lot of medical issues, being sick all the time, not really sure why I was sick so much. And I had switched jobs and everything was starting to go great. I thought, finally, I'm where I want to be, I'm doing what I want to do. And I was taking a shower and I noticed a lump on my right breast. And I freaked out. And so I went to the doctor, and after several mammograms and ultrasounds, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 1. And that was something that I was definitely not prepared for. It turns out that I was sick as much as I was because my body was fighting off a very extreme tumor. Within 5 weeks' time, I had to go in for surgery and had a lumpectomy. I had lymph nodes removed, and all the while I really had to pull on my family to be strong for me. You know, I have 3 children, and that was not something that they were prepared to deal with. And so I had to really not only pull on my strength, but ask God to give me the strength that I needed to stay strong for them and to not let them see that this was going to break me down or break down our family, and that they were going to have me for as long as, you know, God has me on this earth. So one thing is that I am a member of this church, and I couldn't have done it without the support of the people that I knew I could call, text. Meals were brought to me every time I went through chemotherapy. People came and sat with me, shared with me, prayed with me, and that was something that it may not have brought me closer to God, but it helped remind me just how much God has an impact in your life and what He can do with the people around you.
I came to work one morning after being with my company for 10 years, and they wanted to give us a drug test. And we all wound up taking a drug test, and I wound up testing positive for marijuana. And I wound up losing my job. And it was a very well-paying job, and it was very hard for me to deal and cope with losing my job and having to go home and share that with my wife and with my kids. And it was kind of hard. I didn't know what to do. I felt like it was the end of the world. But you know, I was walking with God, and I knew that God was my only way to help me, you know, to get back on my feet. And I just decided to press in, started coming to church, and got rooted, got to know God, and God restored my life. He got me a new job, gave me a great place to work, and I just want to thank God that I could take care of my family, provide for them. And it's been a very interesting walk with God. I've known God. I know God like I've never known Him before. And before that time, I knew of God, but I don't think I had a personal relationship with God. And God has become real in my life.
So at first it was just really hard to believe, especially because I mean I've never thought my mom is a person who would have cancer. So it was hard to believe. You know, you'd come home and she'd be wearing a bandana, and you'd have to remind yourself of what had happened, and it was a huge take of tragedy on the house.
So a few years back, I was a bit of a rebel, my poor mom, but my life went to some really dark places. And I came to this church because I was looking for something, and I wasn't sure what it was. So like any relationship, coming to this church, I got right with God. And with that, you always think if you're doing the right thing that things are going to be easy, but that's not always the case. So when really hard things do come your way, it's really hard to face. So this year, when I was faced with some pretty serious consequences due to my past, in my walk with God, it was very hard to face, because with God, your past is wiped out, you're made new. but in the world, that's not the case. So my heart was hardened, and I pushed a lot of people close to me away, and I didn't know what to do. So I called my pastor, and he knew something was wrong right away because I don't like to talk on the phone, and he met me within 15 minutes, and we just talked about everything, and he prayed for me. He prayed for peace in my heart, and I could feel it right away because I know God knew I needed it. And so what that did for me was I was able to see the situation a little bit clearer, and I had a choice. I had a choice to be really angry, which I was at the time, or I could learn from it. And I just know that no matter what I'm going through, God will always work it to the good. He will always make it better. He will always make me stronger, even when I don't want to be any stronger. He will always do that for me. And when you give it up and you trust in the Lord, your relationship just elevates. It goes so much higher. And that's so hard to do, like I said, with any relationship. But once you're in that position when you don't have any other choice but to trust in Him, there's just no limit on your life. And I can't thank Him enough.
And with all that, it did help me gain my faith in God. It helped me to be able to pull on Him more and give Him more. I'm a very independent person. I don't really like to ask anybody for help, let alone ask God. I kind of just let Him, do His thing in my life. But I was really able to, talk to Him on a regular basis and pull on Him to help me deal with things, whether I was having a bad week or if my kids were breaking down. I could ask for strength from Him, and that was it was a big way for me to deal with it all because it happened so fast. It helped with my marriage. My husband and I are very, very close. We were before, but this helped us to really pull upon one another and grow our faith together.
It really connected us with God because we always were very close to Him, but it's like going through something that is hard for you. It just makes you want to grow that much closer. It makes you want to trust Him more. It makes you want to just be in His hands and let everything be free and perfect. And we trusted Him so much more after what we had gone through.
Whenever you come out of a hard situation, no matter where you are, no matter whether you think you can do it or not, you're changed. And you can be changed for the better or you can be changed for the worse. Either way, you're going to come out a different person. I definitely have changed, but what I found in that is in the end, all you really have is God. Make sure your relationship is right with Him. Always fight for yourself, and no matter what, God is always fighting for you.
And this is my pivotal circumstance, and this is why I trust God.
And that's my story.
This was my story.
This is my story.